Alright, this is Brad over here at 100Servings, and I'm just going to jump right into this. A friend of mine gifted me this game a few days ago. You know who you are. Thanks a lot for sending it over. And at first I kind of blew it off. I'm like, this kind of looks a little old and rickety and everything like that. But I saw a bunch of other streamers playing it, and I figured, well, I'll give it a shot. You know, it's the worst that could happen. So this is called Vampire Survivors, and it's available on Steam. It's been out for a short while. And we'll kind of get into it more, but we're just going to look at, basically choose a character. Not all of these are unlocked from the beginning, but we're going to go with Pasqualina. And each of these characters have unique weapons and abilities and everything like that. So, and then there's different stages you can select. They have to be unlocked as you play the game, so you're not just going to jump right into them. I personally like the library the best so far, so and this is not even a twin stick game. This is a single stick game, because the reality is you can use this using one analog stick on a controller. And the goal here is to basically just last 30 minutes until the Reaper shows up. And as you collect gems, you level up. So your priority isn't even necessarily killing the enemies as much as it is collecting these gems. As you collect gems, you level up. As you level up, it gives you choices of weapons. Now, you can choose whatever you want, and your character is going to use them automatically. You don't have to press a button. They're all on some kind of cooldown. And it's going to come down to you deciding which ones you want, because as you go up in level, there's certain combinations of weapons and skills and whatever else that you're going to want. So, of my particular choices, I like the magic wand, and when you combine the magic wand with the empty tome, if you max out the magic wand, it's going to allow you to shoot an unlimited stream of these magical shots. And one of the big advantages of the magic wand is it doesn't have to be aimed. It's just going to automatically attack the nearest enemy. One of the other ones I have is the whip. And the whip, if you combine it with the empty heart. If you combine it with the empty heart, you get a whip called Bloody Tears, named after the famous song from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And it does all kinds of nifty damage, and it also regenerates health. So if you look in the upper right corner, there's a gauge for money. The money that you get in game you can spend outside of the game to unlock characters and purchase power-ups that will apply when you start the game. For example, I've got a power-up equipped that's going to regenerate my health as I play the game. There's also one that will allow you to pick up gems from farther away, so you don't have to be quite so close when you pick them up. There's ones that you're going to do more damage. I didn't want to pick that up quite yet, but and throughout the game, when you beat bosses and whatnot, you get treasure chests. Most of your treasure chests are only going to give you one level up of one of your weapons and some money. So this is going to boost my magic wand by another level, so it's up at level 5 already. Weapons go up to level 10. And then with the modifier you can get maxed out, you know, special weapons, whatever like that. But it's going to kind of depend on what the game chooses to give you. I'm going to go ahead and grab the spellbinder. So if you look up at the top center of the screen, there's a time meter. So effectively what you're really trying to do is survive for 30 minutes. If you can survive for 30 minutes, the Reaper comes out and it kills you. And that's game over. I know there are some players out there that have some kind of... There's a lot of different ways that people have figured out how to beat the Reaper, such as, you know, getting him stuck on the environment and whatever like that. And that's all fine and dandy. You want to do that, help yourself. I'm just kind of an amateur at this. That power-up is going to freeze all the enemies. And I'm going to apologize in advance because you are going to see some frame rate drops and glitches and everything else under the sun. It's funny because these retro games like this do tend to tax your computer way more than you would think they do. I gotta be honest, I would not have given this game the time of day. It has every kind of cursed attribute going for it. It has... It's in early access. It's an indie game. It is not exactly impressive in the graphics department. It just doesn't really present particularly well. I mean, it looks like a rip-off among other things. Take the rune tracer there. But there is a surprising amount of depth. That big mummy there is actually a boss. And so he drops the treasure. Let's see what we get this time. Another wand upgrade and 98 bucks. These chests are kind of the breathers that you get in the game. You know, it's funny, I have not come across a single empty tome yet, and I'm going to need one if I'm going to max out this weapon. So why am I good at this game? Well, back in 1990, Midway Williams released a game in the arcades called Smash TV. And Smash TV was a twin-stick shooter, kind of like Robotron. For you really old folks that know what that is. And you used two sticks. One controlled your direction that you moved, and the other one controlled the direction that you shot. At the time, there was nothing else on the market like it, and it's funny because the only thing that kind of came close right afterwards was the follow-up, a game called Total Carnage, that actually was not a sequel. It was just made in pretty much the same way. Oops, I think there was probably an empty tome there. I just didn't pay attention. As you run through here, you'll see there's coins, there's chickens. The chickens give you 30 health. Those red ones that are flying around, they'll explode if you don't destroy them in time, and they love to blow up right in front of you. Anyway, Smash TV and Total Carnage ate up a large number of my quarters. Smash TV being based on The Running Man, Schwarzenegger movie. I'm going to take the Hollow Heart because I'm going to need that to max out the whip. Not a particularly useful item. Increase your max health by 10%. So, I started out with 100 health. It's going to give me 110. Whoop-de-doo. If you notice, that larger green monster there is actually a boss. And they dropped a chest. You can actually just hit a button and skip that. When I first started playing this, and I actually started having fun at it, the first thing I thought to myself was, I would like to find the programmer of this game, give them a big hug, and say, yeah, we all miss Castlevania, friend, because this is about as Castlevania as it gets. Now, why doesn't Konami come out with something like this? Well, Konami has gotten out of the video game business, more or less. If you didn't know, Konami is an old video game developer, and they put out a bunch of different duplicator weapons fire more projectiles. That's a nifty little tool. Konami owned stuff like Contra, Metal Gear, Castlevania, a lot of franchises we all know and love, and unfortunately, a few years ago, they more or less gave up on video games and decided to go all in on pachinko. For those of you that don't know what pachinko is basically a Japanese gambling machine, almost like pinball, but instead you drop little metal balls in the top. I don't know. I'm going to take the lightning ring. Part of the problem is that a lot of times the game is going to give you weapons you might not necessarily want. It also has a lot of really annoying sounds. You're going to hear the sound of picking up gems in your sleep. But anyways, Konami completely turned their back on video games. Hideo Kojima left Konami. There we go, and I've got Bloody Tear. So it's a maxed out whip. Deals damage and restores HP. So you're thinking, okay, well, Kojima left. Metal Gear is in good hands. You know, they've got the Fox engine. They can still crank out more games. And what did Konami do with it? They made Metal Gear Survive. basically created a quote-unquote survival horror game out of the Metal Gear franchise, and was not positively reviewed for some reason. Tiragisu restores once with 50% health. So if I die, I get to come back with half my health. So, and you would say, oh, looks like you're dominating this thing. We're at 11 minutes. 11 and a half minutes. So, a lot of stuff can happen between now and then. And especially if I don't get the weapons and items that I need. Yeah, I really need that empty tome. But yeah, once you get to a certain point... See, I don't like any of those choices. I don't really want to use any of those. I guess I'll take the laurel. But yeah, right now this is $3 on Steam. I don't know anything about the developer. I'll probably do a little bit more research, but... There we go, empty tome. Now, one of the other nice things about the empty tome is that it makes the cooldown on all of your items lower. So, for example, when my books come out there, that's on a cooldown timer. I'm going to go ahead and take the crown, and the crown increases the amount of XP that you get. I'd say that's probably not that major of a thing, but big advantage of the crown is that especially later in the level, you just have to pick up just an outrageous amount of gems to level up. But if you have the crown, it's going to be significantly fewer. And there's another boss right there. And another chest. And there we go, maxed out wand. Evolved magic wand. Fires with no delay. And of course, the other nice thing about the wand is that it just targets the enemy closest to you. So now it'll just continually fire at my nearest enemy. And there's the cross, and I took out a boss as well. As embarrassed as I am that this is slowing down so much, this slows down everybody's system. I mean, Just a lot of stuff is getting rendered all at once. Now, I've never actually maxed out the King Bible here, so... And there's another boss right there. There's nothing to do so. What she got for me? An empty tome. Start powering up the lightning ring. Alright, so the empty tome is now maxed out. Yeah, I even reduced my recording quality to try to get a more stable frame rate out of this game, and just not happening. And there we go, maxed out King Bible. Never ends. And again, it looks like, oh, I could just stand there and beat this. And I can assure you, I have tried that numerous times with different weapons, and it never ended well. Again, I don't know why Konami could have, and in fact they still could. They could just purchase this game and say, you know, slap their name on it, call it a Castlevania game, and I'm sure even more people would buy it. I can erase that crown just one more time. Boss over here. go. There we go. Thunder Loop. So, maxed out lightning skill. I'm going to max out the Laurel. The Laurel basically allows you to have shield charges that make you invincible, and they recharge over time. Who knows, maybe I'll be able to use it to get a shot in at the Reaper. Especially since I've got the Tiragisu. One of the ways that people beat the Reaper is that they'll use the bookshelves to try to catch him. Again, this is an early access, so I don't know what the developers really have in mind. I go out of my way not to buy early access games simply because I've had so many times where a game looked really promising and I was really hopeful that this was going to turn out well, and the game ended up never coming out. Most infamous of that was Starforge, who the developers, they basically sold this thing as being like Minecraft meets Halo or something. And, oop, I got 3 of them this time. There are chests that I've seen that'll give you up to 5 items. But, anyway, Starforge kind of billed itself as Halo meets Minecraft. And I decided, you know what, I'll go ahead and give them some money. I'll invest in that. And they took the money and made a game called Reign of Kings with it that also never left early access. Then they took the money from Reign of Kings, and I don't know what they did with it from there, but suffice to say, there are more failures than successes in the early access market. Yeah, in fact, this is going to be my last item level up. So if you look in the upper left corner, you see the little gold squares that are underneath each of my tools and weapons and whatnot. So I've got 6 weapons, I've got 6 support items, and they're all maxed out. So after this, whenever I level up or beat a boss or whatever, the only thing that it's going to offer me is money. And I know that doesn't sound like the most significant thing in the world, but money can be used to upgrade your character so that they go into the match with all kinds of additional bonuses, making life a little bit easier from the start. Yeah, this is just a total mess. So basically, from now on, my level ups, I'm only going to be offered a big coin bag, which is 25 gold coins, or a floor chicken, which is going to be 30 health. Floor chicken is a gauntlet reference for, boomers. Red Warrior shot the food. that anytime you see an enemy with a glowing blue border around them, same thing. So I just got 89 gold plus a bag for 25 gold. So again, at this point, got 7.5 minutes left. I'm level 64. And of course I want to be the maximum level that I can be when I face the boss. Or the Reaper. But the other nice thing is there's a bunch of achievements built into this game, so one of the big achievements is getting to level 100 with a bunch of the different characters. Yeah, I just picked up a empty tome, but I've already got 5 points in empty tome, so I can't get any more than that. Another boss there. It's funny because this isn't, especially at this point, this isn't the most entertaining game in the world, but the way your brain is set up, your little dopamine receptors and whatnot are like, I get more gems. More gems to make me feel good. Brain go happy. Or maybe that's just me. So you found another empty tome, but doesn't really benefit me. Well, holy moly, there's quite the coven of witches there. That's the other funny thing is that, I mean, they just throw the kitchen sink at you. I mean, you start off fighting mud monsters, and there's been zombies, there's been mummies, there's been witches. I fought werewolves. I fought everything in this goofy game. Yeah, in your last 5 minutes, the game's going to get a little ridiculous, and it's definitely going to test all your defenses. Now, one of the advantages of being in the library as opposed to other places is that there's a top and a bottom to the screen. Oh, there's another boss right there. He's kind of a nasty one. There goes my frame rate. And he's gone. All for 79 plus another 25. And not much else. Completely out of control here. I don't know what's responsible for this. I don't know if it's my computer or the game or my recording software or whatever, but introduce a boss here. little under 3.5 minutes left. It's both kind of a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it's like, okay, well, a session has a limited time period, so that's kind of good. But on the other hand, every time you turn this on, you can expect to spend 30 minutes at it. Minutes of frying your GPU. Although I don't necessarily know that this is running on my GPU and not my CPU, because I had problems with that in the past. That was actually part of why I was struggling so much trying to get Lost Dimension running, is it was running off of my CPU instead of my GPU. Just for fun, I'm going to hang around this bookshelf. Let's see if I can cheat death, literally. A little over a minute left. You start seeing those red gems drop. Red gems are going to be a huge chunk of experience. So again, here at the end, they're trying to get you the highest level you can be before the Reaper shows up. Less than a minute left. There you guys see a bunch of those. Well, maybe you can see a bunch of those exploding ones are coming for me. Funny because once the Reaper shows up, there's just one big explosion and all the bad guys disappear, and then the Reaper shows up and then you die. Holy moly. Five, 4, 3, 2. Ha! Perfect timing. And I died. But I got the Tiragisu. So I get another chance to die and get some more bonus coins. And that's going to be it. So 30 minutes, 16 seconds, stage completed, and 800 bonus coins. And I got some new achievements. Keeps track of all my stats. And kicks you right back to the beginner screen. Now, if I want to, I could spend my money, boost up some of these various stats. You'd even refund all the money that you've spent to kind of fit whichever character you want to play. So, that's it for me for tonight. This is Vampire Survivors. And again, thanks a lot to my friend that sent this game over. And if there's anything else you guys can think of that you'd like to see me play, by all means, let me know. And other than that, thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back with some more Lost Dimension in the near future. I really need to work on a catchphrase.